Dear Saguache County, Colorado, did you really not learn your lesson? Did you enjoy my company so much that you want me back? To catch up those of you who might just be citizens barely paying attention to what your government is up to in Saguache County, let me fill you in. Going back to December 10th, I was driving through your beautiful land, beautiful air through the town of Center, Colorado, and was stopped in my peaceful travels for not having a license plate on my truck by 3 officers of the Center Police Department that led to my incarceration in solitary confinement for 12 days over warrants that were no longer active at all, actually closed, resolved legal issues, and a false accusation of me illegally possessing psilocybin mushrooms with intent to distribute. Now, it's not untrue that I was doing that. It is untrue that I was guilty of it in any legal sense, as it is my right as a member of the Oak Cliff Wayhead Native American Church, as well as a self-declared Wiccan under U.S. law, precedent, First Amendment, blah, 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 to possess personal amounts for psilocybin, for sacrament, and for distribution for religious purposes. In this case, I'm saying, yes, I am using this as anti-suicide medication as well for veterans with our nonprofit, HOMEFRONT Battle Buddies, homefrontbattlebuddies.org. Please check it out. You can donate, you can support, you can volunteer. We're getting this off the ground, and already having to do with little dancing with the government Goonies. This time it's from Saguache County, and then using Yavapai County Sheriff's Department to do some of their dirty work to try to serve me with papers today. So I did 12 days in solitary before the district attorney officially declined to prosecute and filed a motion to have the charges dismissed. But, what a victory. Of course, it was without prejudice, which means that hypothetically they can bring it back. And so today, I should back up. On Christmas Day, I was thinking about all of the ways that I could get my revenge on those cops. Because when you get bullied, I mean, man, you want to fight back at the bully. You want to hit him in the nose and make him run away to mommy, and you want to stand up. I mean, my parents raised me to stand up to bullies. I don't know about yours, but that's what I was raised to do. But there's a better way to stand up to bullies than that. Because I was thinking, what can I do for suing the pants off everybody involved? Like wrongful arrest, violation of Fourth Amendment rights, property damage, the abuse of my animals. I mean, my dogs, my puppies, my freaking puppies, Thelma and Louise, were left outside in the middle of December in freezing Colorado temperatures, unattended, unable to be picked up, sub-freezing temperatures. So there's a lot of stuff I could sue for. And I told him, I thought, you know what, though? It's Christmas. In the spirit of Christmas, let's practice what we preach for cops: de-escalation, right? Why go to lawsuits and court battles? And so I wrote them a letter, the Kokesh Christmas letter, on Captain Freebeard letterhead, of course, saying, look, let's de-escalate this, and I'll make you an offer. So I'm open to negotiation. And unfortunately, this is how the negotiation has to happen, because I don't want to call anybody a coward. Judge actions, not people. But really, they're going to come back at me with a summons, try to paper fuck me instead of talk to me. I've been trying. So I wrote this letter, sent it out on Christmas, right? Christmas Day. Sent it to the 3 county commissioners of Saguache County. Sent it to the DA for the district that includes Saguache County, District Attorney Alonzo Payne. I sent it to County Sheriff Dan Warwick, who met with me while I was incarcerated, who seemed like a good guy. Seemed like he wanted this thing resolved properly, like he wanted them to do the right thing. And I sent it to Chief Meek, Dale E. Meek, Chief of Police of the Center Police Department. And I called and everybody I could have with this, and I got no response. I called Monday to reach out. And nothing. I called back today to follow up, so I'd have at least something to report for tonight's episode of Adam versus the Man. Nothing. There's more voicemails and messages, and we'll get back to you. And yeah, right. And then I get a text message today. And I put this on Twitter. I put this on our Telegram. t.me/Adam versus the Man, forward around. I got a text message today from Deputy Hubble, Yavapai County Sheriff's Office. And a Deputy Hubble, like, there are a lot of good people around here who work for Yavapai County Sheriff's Department. Good men, good women, who genuinely do their best to serve the people of Yavapai County. But, doesn't matter how much honey goes with your poison, honey, poison, you still kill freedom all the same. And Deputy Hubble, for whatever your intentions may be of just following orders, you're getting paid to help somebody do something evil, to bully me in a way that most people aren't capable of standing up to the bully at all. Even like this, talking about it publicly, just having the confidence to say, fucking come at me, bro. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. Fuck you. Most people can't do that. So I will. If I have to stand between them and you, the bully, I will every day of the week. You guys are bullies. You're fucking bullies. Everybody, the drug war is bullying people on behalf of Big Pharma and all the other special interests profiteering from it. You can't deny that. That's why I won the case. And so, big legal question. I got to figure this out. Maybe someone can send me a link or a decisive answer. Maybe any attorneys in the audience, send me an email, adam@thefreedomline.com, after you see this. But I was told that this is for a summons for a civil matter in Colorado. He didn't say what county, but I'm guessing it's Saguache. I don't know. They bump this up to a state civil case of some kind and then send me a summons. And then deliberately go to my county of residence and have Yavapai County Sheriff's Office do their dirty work of delivering their threat. Because that's what it is. What's a summons? Show up or else. Eventually we will come and get you. We use force. If you resist, we will use force against you. It's comply or die. A summons is a comply or die threat. So yeah, Deputy Hubble, know what the fuck you're doing. You just issued me a comply or die threat on behalf of bullies for the pharmaceutical industry, which makes you essentially like you're a bully for the pharmaceutical industry. Doesn't matter, how many trucks you pull out of the snow, how many kittens you pull out of trees, how many people you help, how many Toys for Tots drives you do like the Marines. I saw that stuff on the Chino Valley newspaper. Yeah, like that. Oh, yeah, you stand around in your uniform and look like you're serving the community when you're responsible for all the greatest evil that is visited upon us by government because you, like I was when I was in the Marines, you are the trigger puller for politicians. You are the threat of their force. And I don't know who it is now, but I'm going to fucking find out. Was it DA Alonzo Payne who made this decision? Oh, we're going to keep coming after him. So anyway, big question though. They come a summons for a civil something. What is civil summons? So not criminal? What, are you trying to sue me for bullying, for being the victim of bullying? Oh, okay, Yavapai, or excuse me, Saguache County. Now we're talking. Okay, Saguache County government, you want to dance? Let's dance. You didn't learn your lesson the first time, you fucked with the wrong Marine. So I don't know what's next. What are we calling for people to do now, Joey? Call the DA, right? Call the DA.
Absolutely.
Call the DA. Alonzo Payne. We got a phone number, right? I have it in, let's see. In Telegram? No. It's in there somewhere. I want people to have the number that I called.
We will pin
But no, we're gonna get this on screen right now. I want everybody to leave a message. Because this is let's see, DA Alonzo Payne. There's a number for his office online. It's just public number. You got the number in the text that I sent out there for Deputy Hubble, but I don't really care about Deputy Hubble's role in this, unless he really comes at me. Someone is saying that I'm seeing some messages here on Telegram and on text messages that they're going to come at me. They're going to come knocking on my door. Well, nah, it's one of the luxuries of living off grid. Like, nah, you can't just come knock on my door. It doesn't work that way. If I want to be a fugitive from your warrant, so to speak, or from your summons or your service of papers, I will, until you say what the fuck you're doing, because this is just some cowardly shit. You're going to hide whoever it is in Colorado. You're going to hide behind the guns of Yavapai County Sheriff's Office. You're not even going to talk to me directly. You're not even like, and I don't know, maybe this is procedural shit. Maybe it's all just a misunderstanding. But really, I'm going to make sure we're going to send this link. I want everybody send this link. We got the email, right? I want to make sure that the email is out there, because this isn't the one that I sent on Christmas Day, and this is now at the district attorney's level. So it is Alonzo Payne, just the way it sounds. Jim, type this out: ALONZOPAYNE, Alonzo Payne at gmail.com. That's his public email address. Well, what's he gonna do now? I mean, if this is their position, then I'm gonna come at them and say, you know what? All right, lawsuit time. And I don't even have to answer your summons, because I don't recognize your authority, because what you're doing is wrong. It's fundamentally wrong, and you know it. And I would rather face the consequences of that than let you get away with it. I'd rather face the consequences of facing up to this bully and exposing you for who you are and what you are than just cowering like you expect me to. No. And I am so grateful. I have people backing me up. We'll do this. We'll keep phone bombing and email bombing. There it is, AlonzoPayne at gmail.com. Thank you, Jim. And our producer is also babysitting tonight, actually with a baby on his lap, I saw in the pre-show. But yeah, that's it. Jim Freedom, kicking ass on the boards as always. AlonzoPayne at gmail.com. I want to get the number that I use, because it was the actual number for the district attorney's office. Here, Alonzo Payne for Colorado's 12th district office. Do we have that actual number before I go and risk? Let's see. It should be on my phone here. It's not gonna. Am I still on? Does it kill me?
You just died.
I just died.
You just
Let me
died.
come back. All right, now I'm back.
You're back.
Because you're gonna just have to hear me on Joey's phone.
No, my phone.
It's on. Oh, it's not audio.
You're on.
Is it still got my audio? Am I still on?
I don't know.
Oh.
I hear what you hear.
Oh, okay. But you see me. I still look on screen. Then
You're frozen.
I'm frozen. Well, the number I called for Colorado here. Oh, geez. I don't know if this is the right number or not. 720-0768. No. Who was the last one I called? First one was the DA. 719. Jim, write this down. This is it. 719-655-2525. That is the office for District Attorney Alonzo Payne. And they before wouldn't they say, well, you can't talk to him. He's not the one handling your case. You have to talk to the assistant district attorney for Saguache County. And he doesn't fucking call back either. And you know what? I'll tell you, Dan Warwick, people like working for you. Say you're a good guy. And I told him after I met with you when I was in jail, he's either a good guy or he's a great actor, but we're going to find out. And guess what? I'm putting you on the spot with this right now, Mr. Warwick, Sheriff of Saguache County, because it's up. You had a role in this, and you still have a role to play in this if you want it. Or you could just let the DA do their thing and keep their bullying up. Or you could respond to this letter. I would be happy to negotiate with just you. I'm willing to let all my demands, or my offer, I should say, my requests, because I am offering you, in the spirit of the holiday season, the chance to avoid the lawsuits and the embarrassments that I could exact upon you in order to hold you accountable. Yes, these are threats. Yes, I am threatening you. These are legitimate threats, righteous threats, threats of accountability, threats of holding you accountable to the law and the public who you claim to serve. The people of Saguache County, who I would definitely encourage, especially to join us in this call and email flood and demand that your government do the right thing in this case. Because I made a very magnanimous offer to say, no, you don't have to. No, you can. We don't have to go the confrontational way. No, we can go the peaceful way. We can settle this. We can have negotiation. I'll save you a lot of money. I'll save you a lot of heartache, and I'll save you a lot of embarrassment. All you have to do is the right fucking thing. And I got to say, I am so I was given a moment of hope there when I was released that Saguache County government had a little more integrity than this, but apparently not. And I really, this comes down to Sheriff Dan Warwick and the DA. Maybe they're arguing behind the scenes, and maybe the sheriff is. But you know what, Sheriff? If that's the case, fucking talk to me like a man. As the representative of the people, as the elected senior law enforcement officer in the county, fucking take a phone call, man. God damn it. Have some integrity. Because you should be embarrassed by how you're handling this. Sheriff Dan Warwick, you should be embarrassed by how your county government is handling this. But you personally, you don't have the wherewithal to take a phone call from me and all this. You're going to let them send a threat instead through Yavapai County sheriffs. Really? All right. We'll see about that. So anyway, looking for legal advice tonight. What does it mean? A civil warrant? Civil summons? Does that mean it's not a felony? Does that mean it's for something else, or that is this for a court date? What do we have here? Joey, just doing your job is not an acceptable answer to violating the rights and freedom of the American people. Amen. Yeah, it's kind of what it comes down to. All right, with that, Jim, give us the producer notes.
What's going on? I got relief from the babysitting for a little bit. Her daddy came home, so that's good. I hope you all are enjoying the show. We got those numbers up there for you to contact, and that alonzopayne@gmail. Those are the most important things of the week. But also, just so you know, t.me/Adam versus the man. That's where you should be going to keep up with everything that's going on with the show. And naturally, everything that's related with the star of the show, Mr. Kokesh. So all of this stuff is getting updated at t.me/Adam versus man as well. Everyone's welcome to join that. We're trying to pile it up as much as possible, so get yourself on it. Patreon.com/Adam versus man if you want to financially support the show. We got $1, $5, $10, even $50 a month packages. You can get yourself into the private producers club where we give private conversation, and we get a link to you can visit backstage during each show, all kinds of cool perks. So check out patreon.com/Adam versus the man. And one more thing, the HOMEFRONT BATTLE BUDDIES.org. Adam's been talking about it frequently. It's making a lot of different moves, and this current situation, he's even talked about it a few times. This current situation could affect HOMEFRONT BATTLE Buddies and maybe even I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but cause it to get better faster. It might accelerate. frontbattlebuddies.org. So
yes, I mean, like I said on the show last week, I'm at the point now, like, this is the most you can come at me with for personal possession of mushrooms. If I got to manage my liability to, like, okay, well, I never own more than an ounce at a time, fucking come at me, bro. We're going to start advertising publicly that we are growing and giving away mushrooms to veterans here. And maybe that's what triggered them. They're like, oh my gosh, we can't let them get away with that. All right, let's dance again. Last time, it came out very well for me. Got a lot of free promotion out of it, and I put you in your place. And I got a bunch of lawsuits pending out of it. So, like, what you're just like, or Saguache County, it's like you're just digging the hole deeper for yourselves right now. Yeah, they will do whatever. Christopher Schnack, they will do whatever they can to screw you over, take your freedom, and steal your money. We'll see. I mean, that's government's MO until we fight back.
Yeah, and Adam will do everything in his power to stop them.
So I Googled here just now, like, what is a civil summons? And apparently it's informs him that a lawsuit has been filed against him or her, and that a response is required. But even then, like, they wouldn't tell me that the county sheriff, I said, what's it about? They wouldn't tell me, but it's a plaintiff. So there has to be a plaintiff attempting to recover damages. So according to this, and I don't know, there might be some exception. It might be some Colorado government using the term differently. I kind of want to speak to one of the, I'll get John Hogue on the phone, the Colorado Saguache County public defender who was helpful with me when I was locked up. But it could be a divorce as a civil case or a civil summons. Otherwise, there might be legal penalties. So it's a summons to come up to a plaintiff's complaint. So what's really interesting Let's see. Richard O'Connor, civil warrant is a judge or a sheriff to bring a person in front of that court. That's a civil warrant, but wouldn't that be? It's not a civil warrant; it's a civil summons. I mean, there's definitely a distinction there because I've had warrants for criminal matters that expired or went away or were resolved. All of the above, actually, for different warrants in my lifetime. But a civil summons sounds like not a civil warrant. Like it could turn into a warrant for you're not. But then, isn't there some responsibility to tell you what it is? Okay, traffic tickets are another form of civil summons. So in that case, so here's what the website says, mylawquestions.com. Traffic tickets are another form of civil summons. Many traffic tickets offer people the option of filing a guilty plea by the mail, allowing them to skip court altogether. In this case, people can indicate that they are guilty, pay the fine, follow any other directions from the court, such as taking traffic school. Not responding to a traffic ticket can result in a hold on someone's license, warrant for arrest, or hold on vehicle registration. People want to fight tickets, do so in court or with a written response. I would think at some point here, I'm going to be able to call them to account to their own rules and be like, well, you fucking have to tell me what this is. If it's a civil summons, like you can't just say come to court and not say why. So we're going to find out before I submit to the authority of the court. As we know, you don't have to submit. They need your obedience to screw you. So don't give it to them.
Definitely resist. So let's it's about time for bring our co-host Ed on, see what he has to say about it.
Co-host Joey Lee and Ombudsman Ed Vallejo. Let's smoke weed every day, shall we?
What's that? I like that.
Do you okay, here. As I was babysitting, I wasn't ready for that.
He's got a baby. So.
I'm not ready.
Tomorrow.
Oh, hey. All right. So very interesting developments, but a new front having opened up. Oh wait, what is this? Oh, we got a tweet at Adam Kokesh from our friend Angela TC in Michigan, I believe. Ted Cruz tweeted, blue state Dems are power drunk, authoritarian killjoys. This is the Ted Cruz tweet. Washington State, no dancing allowed. Any rational and free citizen piss off. According to Paul Joseph Watson, which is what Cruz is retweeting, dancing is strictly not permitted, quote, on New Year's Eve inside your own home. Good luck enforcing that.
I feel like we should make a field trip.
So yeah, this is Washington government's official blue check account on Facebook saying, hi, Jillian, masks are not required at private residences. Dancing is strictly not permitted.
We're going to come in there in guns. We're going to stop you. Because they will.
Wow. Like, this kind of gets to the summons and my message to Saguache County. Like, if you bring the government threat to bear on this case in such a way that I am basically a prisoner in my own home, if like you're going to post, Yavapai, you're going to convince Yavapai County sheriffs to have someone like posted at all times, trying to, you can't pull me over to serve papers though. You can't stop me and force me to identify myself. This might just be my excuse that like publicly, I identify as Captain Freebeard from now on. If anybody ever comes up to me and says, are you Adam Kokesh? No. Shane Hammer, I fight the law all the time and winning. Yeah. I mean, this is just, yeah.
Because they don't expect you to fight. They expect you to succumb to their demands, be scared, and that's what most people. I mean, see, this got like our DNA. It's ingrained. There is a legitimate fear of cops. Like people,
it should be
PTSD because of interactions with cops, children, actual children. And
speaking of which, I got to interject for a news story because we're not going to deliberately cover news. We're going to accidentally cover news throughout this episode. New York City video going viral. New York's finest asking a 5-year-old, right, little kid, 2 of them, like brothers, 5 and 7 or something. Because anybody 5 and older is required to have vaccine passports in restaurants in New York City. And they came in with a gang of cops and fucking kicked these kids out of a restaurant. And a lot of good video of it, but
I couldn't watch it. It hurt.
Yeah, I watched it. It wasn't. It's not that bad. It's because it's just it's surreal. But this is like, again, just too many I told you so's to count.
Colette Allen's watching. She says hello from England. They've got it real bad over
Yeah,
there.
like I wouldn't want to live on that island. I'm sure there are some rural places, you can get away in England and in Great Britain overall, but that is not a kind of place you want to live in an age of tyranny. And we are in an age of I don't like tyranny as a word because that's what right wingers say, and it's like it's blown up, but like. Yeah, it's a surge in statism, in government, in violence, and viciousness, and control, and it's a global phenomena. And one of my epiphanies in jail was these are acts of desperation of a system on its last legs, and we need to push harder and more thoughtfully and more carefully. Oppression, yes, better word is oppression. It's because tyranny is, well, it's not tyranny yet. And then you think of the meme, most people wouldn't know tyranny if it attached itself to your face and forced you to stay at home. Like most people wouldn't know tyranny if it took half your income and required you to get permission to travel anywhere on the King's roads. Because the founders of this country, I heard a lot of people while I was in jail, actually a handful of deputies go, well, we're constitutionalists. Oh, you mean we support the founders? Oh, you mean the people who created a revolution over what, a less than 5% tea tax? And you want to tell me that you have any of their principles or standards? Fuck you. Get real. Anyway.
Have you guys been seeing the laughable IRS code memes that have been going around?
Yeah, the one about you're allowed to claim. They ask you to claim any stolen goods, and then they say that you can claim any child that has been kidnapped from you but lived with you for a 6-month period at a time. I'm wondering, as a victim of family court, if this state kidnapping my child gives me grounds to once again claim them on taxes.
It should, but they won't.
You don't have a place to claim taxes or claim. Joey's not really looking for deductions, but for those of you who are,
it literally says illegal activity, income from illegal activities such as money from dealing illegal drugs must be included in your income on Schedule Form 1040. I mean, you can't make this shit up, dude. This shit is hilarious. I can't. It's funny. But that shit's always been there though, but it's just now becoming publicly laughed at through memes because that many people are paying attention and digging in and pointing out all the discrepancies that are like, this is bullshit, but why the fuck are these people calling themselves our masters, pretending themselves our masters?
Yeah, I still have some mental cobwebs, like almost spiritual cobwebs, of like giving credibility to the mainstream narrative. And I want to point out that on this drive that I did that resulted in this, from Arizona to Utah to Washington to Oregon to Washington to wherever, to Wyoming to Colorado and back to Arizona, COVID and masks were barely a thing. Yeah, I got threatened with forced vaccination in jail, but it was more of an offhanded comment than a serious threat. What's this? Joey
Joy says 2 armed men just tried to trespass myself and 2 7-year-old children with the threat of arrest for not suffocating ourselves with muzzles.
Where's that?
Where are you?
Yeah. So like there are places where, and I wonder, like for my family, split between. Why? That's New Mexico. Yeah, New Mexico. It's weird. Assume. And it does trend with liberal or blue or Democrat in some ways. I'm not going to try to, make an ideological association or somehow say that Republicans are better on the whole in their relationship to authority, but they are right now, and they are on this issue by a lot.
I think
this is the base, not politically, but the base of Republicans, conservative America on this issue. And it's a weird thing for me to feel as a libertarian, like, yeah, we're really in a meaningful way on the same side as a lot of conservatives and Republicans and mainstream right-leaning types on COVID in a major, really important way right now.
I think you're not on the same side as them. They're on the same side as you.
Fair enough.
It's important distinction.
Joey Joy's in Pennsylvania, but I did not allow them to get away with it. We were in a public accommodation, and I have mask exemptions. Never going to happen.
So it's just a threat. It's a lot of bullies. Like they're threatening you with petty shit because they can't get away with the bigger shit now.
Well, they're threatening you with petty shit because they don't think you know your rights. And I think that's where the divide is. Like a lot of Republicans are more apt to study their rights in the Constitution, I think, or their parents or their Republican parents are more apt to drilling it in their kids' head. Me, being a daughter of a cop, man, I knew my rights at 8 fucking years old. And I didn't realize that nobody else did. I just sent my 12-year-old.
But something about leftist ideology, right?
But he had to ask me. He said, "Why? What's this all about, Mom?" And I said, "Well, that's stuff they're not going to teach you in school."
Your point about leftists, though, right, is that leftists have some ideological revulsion or less attracted to. They're more like, well, we should submit.
I think and they just assume that in their happy little rainbow butterfly world that the cops are there to protect them and they would never hurt them. But then they go out and
say defund the police.
There's a lot of confusion on the left.
No shit.
It's terrible.
All right, so Ed, I know you have a lot you want to weigh in on here, but maybe first, as our ombudsman, what other critical news stories have we missed the last 2 or 3 weeks? Go back.
Oh,
critical news stories.
I was surprised how little changed while I was in jail in the overall dynamics. It's just more I told you so, more bullshit. My big sort of narrative update I would have to say at this point is that I think what they're trying to do is let COVID fade into the background along with the flu and let it recede as long as they and keep it just milking it as long as they can, but let it go to something non-confrontational so it doesn't upset the apple cart. The kind of dramatic conclusion that we are looking for is not going to happen. We're like going to be robbed of that, and they're going to leave it so that everybody who bought into COVIDism said, well, it was a thing back then. Back then it really was killing people. And it's going to start this dumb debate that they're setting up to last for another 10, 20 years.
Okay, well, their narrative is rapidly dissolving, but since they own the media and the communication modules that get information out to the public is unaware of most of the things that are proving that their narrative is dissolving. Take, for instance, the biggest thing you see out there right now coming from the CDC through the lamestream media is that they have changed their quarantine period from 10 days to 5 days. But those of us on the other side that are watching what's going on and we're getting all of the critical information directly from the sources know that the CDC also has just recently stated that the PCR test is no good. It's not to be used anymore. It's not a reliable test, and it's poopy now. Okay.
So I have to.
And, don't worry about that. That was okay.
I have to inject a really positive note of victory for us counter propagandists in this. Despite the censorship, all in all, we have made it untenable for them to maintain the credibility of the tests, and they had to give it up. We won that ground. They are, and this is how government works. You don't get very many decisive victories. It's an ugly, messy, drawn-out battle. But this is them. This is a major sign, Ed. Thank you for bringing this up. The abandonment of the testing as a thing, as a reliable thing. What do we got, Joey?
Peter Yeeple chiming in. Hey, Yeeple, we love you guys. Doesn't the CDC's recommendation for 15 days to 10 days, channel 5 days, sound like a reverse auction going on?
Yeah.
Back when this
5 days.
Yeah, I got it. Reverse. Do I hear 15 days, 14 days, 14 days flatten the curve, 14 days flatten the curve? Do I hear 12 days flatten the curve? No.
Okay,
Will you? All right. Wear a mask in 10 days. 10 days flatten the curve. If you wear a mask, 10 days flatten the curve. No, you people don't buy that either. All right, 5 days. Do I hear 5? We give up. All right.
Okay, but see, this brings to the fore the very first fact that I saw in the very beginning of this that made me question them and their narrative to begin with. When they came out with, oh, there's this malady that is starting to affect people, so we're going to have to instill a quarantine, and we're gonna instill let me see, hold on, a 14-day quarantine. Okay,
what they can get away with.
They pulled a 14-day quarantine out of their ass when people my age know that from the 1600s that a ship offshore with 6 people on it
or
were quarantined offshore for 40 days. Quarantine is a period of 40 days.
And then normal
thing has been real
type disease will have run its course or made itself known. And the fact that they tried to shove a 2-week quarantine on us from the beginning, I remember you pointing this out a year ago.
Yes.
You're like, that's bullshit. Just right away, that's bullshit. Like on its face, if you understand, if you know science, have you heard of science? Why are you denying science? If you're arguing with me, it must be because you hate science.
That guy was great. That was good. Go watch that video. Go later. Oh, you can see only science? That's what we're dealing with out here.
All right, so what else, Ed? I mean, what are the big things that we're missing in the COVID dynamics?
I'm hearing the rumblings of state border checkpoints. Okay, state border checkpoints.
Yeah,
they did this. I remember a couple of tribes trying to do this, and I actually drove past one during. By the way, did 20 states in 2020 despite the lockdowns and never got stopped. But there was a particular exit I drove through, and I believe it was in New Mexico, that they had cops at the end of the exit, and they didn't want to let anybody in unless you were a resident. And from what I understand, that got shut down. The state police came by and said, you guys can't do that. You got to let people travel through. You can close your businesses. You can tell them they're not welcome to come in, but you can't not let them travel through. And it's the same in Gardenia. We have an easement area where part of our property lays on a road that has to be used to travel through. We can't stop travel through that. However, you can't stop there.
What brought me into politics was a man in Texas named Michael Badnarik. Michael Badnarik was a libertarian candidate for president who used to drive around in Texas with no license plate on his car. He knew what the law was. He knows what the law is right now in all 50 states. You don't have to get your car registered with the state unless it's commercial. Those are commercial registrations. All of them are. If you're not a commercial, you don't use your vehicle for commercial purposes, you don't have to register it with the state, but they make everybody register their vehicles, so everybody just assumes that they have to do it. They don't have to. Michael drove around Texas without his plate, and they stopped him the first couple of times, and he stood on it, and he was right, and he got let go every time to the point where they just let him drive around without his plate all the time, and he ended up running for president, and that's what brought me into politics. Okay,
that's why I don't get pulled over locally for not having a plate. I think they kind of know me. They're enough, but it's sort of like, oh, that's the Juniper Wood area. Yeah, we don't fuck with those hillbillies over shit like that. That's just sort of general policy. But Michael Badnarik, great update on him, because I've talked about this. He was going through some hard times, spiritually as well as financially and logistically, not feeling the love from the movement after being our nominee in 2004, the first man I ever voted for president, which is a real shame that he didn't have that support, that he wasn't given more positive speaking gigs, that his Constitution course didn't, succeed more business-wise. But good news to report, he has found a very happy retirement as a riverboat tour guide around the Alamo area. And it's like half stand-up comedy, tour guide stuff. And for him, it's like, he sent me a picture recently. I'm just so happy for him. Like, I wish he was still warrior mode in politics, of course, but the fact that he was in pain with his life situation really broke my heart, and it was awesome to hear. It was one of my best Christmas gifts to see Michael Bednarik has found a beautiful, happy, very suitable for him kind of retirement. It's like, God damn it, he gets to be with people. He gets to make, I bet he makes fun of government the whole time too. Like and with the historic, he wears kind of a historical costume. With that,
too.
it's almost piratey. Yeah, it's like a riverboat driver, and what is it? The Alamo. What's the riverboat? Anyway, San Antonio. It's a cool gig for him. I'm very happy for Michael Bednarik having overcome that. What's this, Moose Girl?
Because you have to make sure you're driving clean if you're going the whole no license plate, no registration route. But
or be ready.
I feel that because that's fear. That's ingrained fear. Yeah. You think that you have to be clean. No, driving around without a license or a license plate does not give anybody the right to search your vehicle.
Right, and even if they use it as an excuse, you can beat it. And I think if I had to guess, what they're coming back with me with this summons is just some like automatic traffic thing where they're like, no, we can't back down. There has to be some charge that sticks out of this. But they had to have done something special to send it to Yavapai. They don't do normal traffic stuff, right? Yes, Ed?
How much weight do you feel the Native American church thing gave to you?
It's one more thing that they don't want to have to fight with a jury trial. They don't want to have to go before a jury of citizen voters in Saguache County and say, you know how the federal government said this with the Supreme Court case, that if you file and claim this religious exemption, that this is okay? Well, we're going to disregard that here and just fuck this guy. Like, they don't, that's that ultimate, that's the effect of that card. And so me showing it to them now is just like, come on, you really don't want to dance like that, do you?
We'll see where they go. I'd like to share a story of mass civil disobedience that happened right before you got arrested and we didn't get to cover. But the CEO of Flow Canna is a big business corporation, broker, distributor in California, has threatened to and is withholding their taxes from the state, demanding significant change to the cannabis industry.
Now, what that comes down to is one dude business owner or one group of shareholders or one financial mechanic of their finances that the government is actually going to come after with force and seize, or they're going to take their funds. Sounds like is this a single proprietor business? Do you know?
Not really sure. The article says,
because I assume to make a play like it's a CEO.
Yeah, Michael Steinmetz, founder of Flow Canna.
So founder, also probably owner, majority stake owner, sure. Not sole proprietor.
And an op-ed article on Medium, which I'm assuming is a website, after the state announced both a tax surplus and increase in cultivation tax, threatening to withhold taxes and urging other cannabis cultivators to do the same.
Yeah, so it's basically, and this is huge because a tax revolt on principle is a domino effect that they don't want to deal with.
And the increased government citing inflation. We're just keeping up with it.
Yeah, no, but this is Joey and I were talking about this just the other day, and maybe here trivia question. Hold on, the question I asked you. Let's make it a trivia question for the audience real quick. First person who gets this on screen, if you don't get by the end of the show, we're just going to tell you the answer. But what state has more dispensaries than? Am I getting this right? It's all the big ones. No. More dispensaries total. More total dispensaries. More
having nothing to do with population, land mass, or anything else.
Than California, Colorado, and Washington State combined. I want to pull this up. There is a state.
There is a. While you're pulling it up, I want to bring.
I'm gonna verify this. Make sure I get
in California. As this guy is not just putting his middle finger up in the air, he's also continuing to pay his taxes into an escrow account that he controls. So at the end of all this, he can't be charged liable, basically. I mean, if you get to the end of all this, you say, I was in litigation, I withheld my funds. It's just like when you do some other state. We've got some guesses here so far.
Already? Michigan. Florida. It's not Michigan. It's not Florida.
Not Illinois.
Did I read it? I read it on my phone.
Despair? I don't think the most dispensaries anywhere near Despair. Illinois? But no. There are a lot. I like how Illinois does its cannabis market, by the way. They have you can be a private grower and get a license and sell to the dispensary right out of your basement. So that's kind of cool. Vermont, no. Oregon, New York, no.
Still no. I mean, someone's gonna guess it eventually.
Eventually, somebody thinks.
Nobody said Arizona. I'm amazed.
I knew the answer right away because driving through state, I saw more dispensaries than Starbucks. That's a big deal.
Now I'm going to quote. This is the story from the New York Times, reposted dnyuz.com. The quote is, "This state has." Oh, I lost it because I want to get the citation. Here it is.
No one's got it yet.
This state now boasts more retail cannabis stores than Colorado, Oregon, and Washington combined. So not California. California probably is probably outsized just because California's population is so massive. You take that out, but there is a state, and by the way, it has. There we go. We have the answer.
Got it.
Okay, so the story from the New York Times is how Oklahoma became a marijuana boom state. You can find it on dnyuz.com without having to go through the New York Times paywall because fuck them.
Fred cheated. He just
Well, it's all right. Whatever.
Sorry, Joey. I'll quit pressing buttons.
Front report today. But the big deal is that Oklahoma is becoming a boom state. Yeah. So in October, it eclipsed California as a state with the largest number of licensed cannabis farms. Excuse me, which now number more than 9,000, despite a population only a tenth of California's. So we talked about this like in terms of Texas, when one of the states that doesn't put up with business regulation and overburden some taxes bullshit goes legal. And here's the best part about Oklahoma booming. It's medical only at this point. It's so fine. I want to say it's so financially permissive, economically permissive. And even in a state like Oklahoma, they want the good people, the government of Oklahoma wanted you to believe that Oklahomans don't really smoke the devil's lettuce that much anyway. We're just going to let the cat, but no, cat's out of the bag. Oklahomans like to get fucking stoned because there's the market to me.
On-site consumption allowance in Oklahoma, by the way, too.
They're going to be lounges there soon.
That I drove past said $1 dabs on their sign. So you can
that's a consumer dab, yeah.
A dab right there on the site. Wow. And not have to take it home, which if they're not imploding.
That's huge. Crazy. That's cool. Yeah, and this is why for me, like, I'm willing to go to the front lines with psilocybin right now. I feel like I barely was on the front lines for cannabis legalization. There aren't any front lines anymore. It's a matter of bureaucratic momentum. Well, I did a week in jail in Philly that helped push for decrim for Philly. That's what I mean. So like I was
frontline shit.
Yeah, I was on the front lines, but not in any special way. I got arrested for cannabis at the White House once. I was one of many soldiers on the front lines of the battle, the war for cannabis legalization, normalization. But we're at the point now where with cannabis, there really aren't any front lines. The most front, they're entrepreneurial and legal. Well, the front line would be this guy in California who can put his business on the line and his business license and a big chunk of money.
It's going to be up to the business owners to take a stand at this point.
Yeah.
Where we're at. But it's going to be up to the consumers to not shop at the businesses that aren't taking a stand.
Yeah. And, well, for us here, let's remind everybody, we've made the conscientious choice to say we are not going to shop at dispensaries anymore because of the taxes. We're going to find a way to go gray market.
I'm sorry. I still love you dispensaries because you're putting your safety on the line. Anybody running a dispensary can be raided by the Fed at any time. And they're doing it not just for the money, but for the service of providing cannabis to their community. So kudos to you. I will never knock a dispensary owner unless they're caught in greed.
I want to say it's not kind of front lines because this guy's not going to face jail time.
No.
He's facing a legal battle, but he's going to be able to manage this with lawyers. I'm sure he's gamed it out. Where like
the Feds get pissed and stuff down, but he's not.
He's already faced that.
Taxes, so
yeah, they can't really initiate.
No freedom to jump in.
Well, he has taken that extra liability on, so kudos. If there's a front line, he's on it. But it is a bureaucratic, entrepreneurial, administrative front line at this point.
I came this close to putting my name into the lottery here, this recent lottery for dispensaries. They put a thing out where if you had a charge that had to do with marijuana in the past, that you could put your name in to a lottery drawing, and they were going to draw so many dispensary permits and give those. Anybody, any kind of bus charge, they put a lot of people put their names in, because if you get one, you can turn around and sell it right away for big money, or you can use it as a dispensary.
It's a weird bullshit. I hate that. I mean, I like the direction of it. But that it's so pointed in such a weird way. It's like government is fair and just in the state of Arizona, if you're lucky.
I'm answering Mark Lanier's question for you right now. Yeah. Mark Lanier
You gotta read the question.
Was worried that the text he got from you was actually from the police.
Oh no, so Mark Lanier. Yeah, no, I was doing an outreach to everybody in my personal contacts I recognized. There were a lot of numbers on my phone back from the presidential campaign of people who just wanted to know. So if you got that text, that was me. First of all, you chat with me. I'm there. If you don't think it's me, yeah, but my number is semi-public, but yeah, we're not gonna make it totally public. Yeah, you can go verify my number if you got a text from a weird number. But no, they don't have my phone.
That's a testament to how far the police state fear spreads. I mean, you've got, and we were too. We were communicating not on the Producers Club channel when they had you. We were communicating on the channel that you're not in, because you've got to have that.
So you can explore the tactics that might require covert action.
Dude, and that's terrible that people even need to think about that when they're dealing with these enforcers that are actually supposed to be there protecting them. And that's the front line we need now. And that encompasses cannabis, psilocybin, every non-victim or non-violent victimless crime. Hey, that's where, what is it, 60% of our prisons are full of non-violent offenders and non-victimless crimes?
We should know the number.
It's
hard to tease out, though. Even if you looked at it from government, it's so fucked up in how they report it, because we have a system that doesn't look at whether you're a criminal or not. It's did you break the law or not. It's a criminal has a victim, and for there to be justice, there has to be a way to make the victim whole. If there's no victim, there's no crime. And there are some cases that are clear cut, Joey, right? There's some cases where it's like you're in jail just for simple possession, but then there are cases where they throw a bunch of charges at you and you're not really guilty of the ones, but you plead to the one that's a victim's crime. Like you might plead to extortion, even though it's a bullshit circumstantial charge that's trumped up, in order to avoid felony distribution and felony this and felony that.
The opposite way.
It's usually the opposite way, right?
People accept the nonviolent. So like it happens a lot in cannabis.
Right. So then there are a lot of people in the books.
There's legitimate violence, like a domestic violence call is made, and they show up and somebody's got a black eye, right?
But they just arrest you for cannabis.
They arrest both people for cannabis, and nobody ever gets a domestic violence charge. Yeah. They get charged, but they flee out of it.
So somebody's an asshole who should be accountable for it. So government skews this data both ways. There are people on government's books in jail for crimes with victims who have not committed any real crimes, and then there are people in jail who had like a violent thing and pled down to a victimless crime.
That usually has a higher sentence than the violent crime. Legit, actual, factual. Check the stats. Look in your local state or your local county what the time is for assault. You know, say you beat the shit out of your neighbor, he beats the shit out of you. You might do 90 days. I mean, and this is even if you get within inches of that man's life. But walk around with that bag of weed, that bag of mushrooms, you're facing 20. That's the world we live in.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about this main case of my summons. Is it like possible that but a summons it's a civil summons, so it's got to be for a ticket or a minor charge.
They can't serve you with a ticket though. It's got to be some sort of charge. Like they wouldn't send somebody out to serve you with driving without it.
A summons is a notification that you are involved in an issue that goes in front of a judge, and the judge is going to be hearing the issue on such and such a day at such and such a time, and you are requested to be there. That's what a summons is. A warrant is when an officer of the law comes to you and says, they want me to bring you to them, you are coming with me. So that's the difference between the two.
Maybe they just want to put me on my heels by coming at me with a shady summons where they don't specify, and they just want me to get served.
Maybe they want to sit here all night on them versus the man being here.
And wring my hands about it. We're afraid. Well, guess what? It fucking failed. You can fuck off with your summons because I do not recognize your authority. I know for an absolute fact that I have committed no crimes in the state of Colorado. I have no victims in the state of Colorado. Until you produce one, you have no authority with me. Until you tell me what the issue is and produce a victim, fuck you. You can fuck right off.
I could have withheld my phone from the FBI. It would have been really easy. I could have just told them no. You know, and they're going to do what they're going to do. But I gave them my phone on purpose because I wanted them to have my phone.
Well, in this case, I'm being totally open about it, all the facts of the case and telling everybody publicly exactly what happened. And I'll stand my ground. And I know that they can come after me with a 24-year charge if they really want to play that game. But you have me sitting in jail in Saguache County, I'm going to cost you all your jobs eventually.
It's got to be a civil matter dealing with you driving without a license and not producing proof of insurance. I'm sure that's all it is.
This one time in Frederick, Maryland, I got pulled over, not with a suspended license, but my driving privilege was revoked in the state of Maryland. However, I've been charged with it. So my Virginia license was still good. So I get pulled over. They cite me for weed. I take it to court. This is the third time. Like this police department just kept harassing me. I take it to court. Charges get dropped. The officer that had pulled me over, who honestly, he didn't even know weed was legal. It was crazy to watch the level. Like I educated him.
Yeah, right.
Okay. At the end of the court date, or the end of the court case, he met me outside the hallway and said, "Look, I don't want to do this. My boss wants me to put you in handcuffs, bring you down to the station, and charge you with about 5 different crimes. But what I am going to do, because I have to keep my job, is I'm going to write you a ticket for driving without a license on the night that you were stopped in October, which was 3 months after. I'm in court 3 or 4 months later, and they tried to do that. So I said that's a court too, and the judge is like, "Yeah, you can't post-date a ticket 3 months."
You got thrown out on a technicality.
And that got thrown out on a technicality. But these guys kept trying to come at me, and that's what cops will do. They'll keep coming at you, and because they have no accountability. You don't lose your job for that.
For cops, you never lose your job for being too aggressive charging people. You physically, yes, you can lose your job if you Derek Chauvin, George Floyd somebody, but generally speaking, you cannot lose your job as a cop for overcharging people with crimes or overbooking people or over accusing them, or even in court falsely testifying to accuse them. Those are things like in that direction. So this cop was basically telling you, and this is a major shift. This I want to appreciate is the good news. And I'm trying to just step this up to the next level at the county level and say, do the minimum you have to of brutality on behalf of the bigger government to keep your job, and I'll let it slide. Right. And you were able to be like, okay, give me the ticket and I'm not going to be a dickhead to you. I'm not going to sue you. I'm not going to pursue. And I'm just doing that on a bigger level, like to the county, make this a decrim county, do a little bit of right by me, do right by your inmates. So you stop with that fucking liability of all the way
like shit. It's so hard to do that.
Like someone's going to commit suicide or have some major, the way they're running Saguache County Jail, sooner or later, someone's going to have a major fight injury or a major health incident from neglect. And they're going to get sued, and it's going to fuck over the people of Saguache County a lot worse.
I wouldn't say sooner or later, Adam. I would say it's happened.
Well, it's me. Fuck you, it's me.
And generally,
it's me.
But generally, it's you get out of jail, and it takes 3 or 4 months before you decide to kill yourself or dive into something that ends up.
Yeah, there's that too.
It's not just, and then it's not the jail's fault. That person made a bad decision. No, they were traumatized
by the jail experience.
In a fucking cage and being treated like shit. It's not okay.
So one more thing from mylawquestions.com. In some cases, people may be advised to ignore a civil summons. It is strongly advised to discuss this with a lawyer first, as usually ignoring a summons is not a good option. Being entered into the record as non-responsive can put a defendant at a disadvantage. If the suit seems spurious or ill-founded, it's still advisable to answer it and to spell out the reasons for believing that there are no grounds for the suit. So this would mean that there are probably some, and I've heard of cases like this with Joey's thing. I don't know if you want to talk about your summons request that you mentioned earlier today.
Yeah, child support
summons. And in her case, she figured out for herself, she didn't have to talk to a lawyer, that ignoring it is the best option, right? Thing is, I don't know, because they're not fucking telling me what this summons is even for. But I basically told them, fuck off until they make it an extraditable warrant, and then I'll come peacefully, and then you can go fucking dance again, and I'll sit in solitary and be completely non-responsive until they decide to let me out, because that's like,
well, unanswered civil summons can sometimes envelop into default judgments of some sort.
right?
They're hard to fight off.
They will judge in your absence.
And in that case, like,
But
what
you
are
can
they
stay
going
on
to
top of
try?
that.
What,
You can
so
stay on top of that by calling and making sure there's no court date.
right, and that's the thing about this is if they don't serve me, eventually the date passes and I haven't been served, so I'm sort of not legally bound to show up until I am served with papers and they identify me and put them in my hand.
Another personal story. You didn't act the kid thing. I was accused of doing some terrible things by my son's father that never happened. And while the accusations and investigations were going on, they were going to issue a restraining order on behalf of my son that his father entered, saying that I couldn't be anywhere near my son. The investigator on this case, knowing that the accusations were false, recommended that me and my son go on vacation until the court date.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's a beautiful thing to have them point out the loophole.
I ignored this protection order summons until the date, which was automatically set. Like I said, they judged in my absence and they set a court date without me being served. But I showed up that day, and by that point, the investigation for the alleged violence had come back unfounded, and therefore the protection order got thrown out. Hey, you know what? This very well could be a protection order for you to cease and desist discussing them publicly.
It could be just that, right? It could be as simple as that. Like, let's just try to bully him and snarl at him one more time and see if he goes away. That's a very good point, because in Colorado, there's the automatic protection order thing that I never signed. It could be a summons for an advisement / protection order hearing where they're trying to get me to acknowledge an automatic protection order. And that is their trigger, or let's send it to another county. It could be as like
your First Amendment right, because they couldn't get any of your other rights.
They're afraid. Well, they're too, and maybe in a sense, I need to finally get one of these assholes on the phone and be nice to them and coax them out of this like fear, silence, avoidance thing.
I would say 90% sure it is a protection order, because
if it was criminal, they'd have to talk to me.
Right, it's a protection order, and they're saying that they're the ones who are the victims and they're trying to protect themselves against you. Once they enter that order into
they've come up with an excuse. So it's like everybody I named in that email, they're like, oh, he named us in an email.
We're scared.
We can therefore protection order, and then we're not allowed to talk to him.
We're scared. He asked us to talk to him.
All right, well then I'll be talking to your lawyers when I sue the fuck out of all of you. If that, like, I still have that play. I'm like, you're in a note. You fucked me. You bullied me. It's on tape. You made a record of it. You bragged about it publicly. You fucked with my dogs. You have no good play left. You're the best you can hope for is a draw from now on top of your losses. I'm giving you that option. Stop making it fucking worse and talk to me.
By the way, how's your arm?
Well, my arm's fine, and I might get it x-rayed if there was a minor fracture, but it was just a weird, like, probably deep bruise. 50, odds are.
I was right about this. Pete Eaple says they will continue their duties projecting and swerving. He says that his autocorrect always tries to say that, make that say protect and serve.
Of course it does.
Damn autocorrect.
Autocorrect, it's so status.
The Maxwell trial happened today too.
Oh yeah, big news there. What, she was found guilty on 5 out of 6?
Yeah, most of the charges.
Oh, Marilyn missed me so much. She needs to be on camera. Marilyn, okay, sit out.
They said that she did everything but entice the girls.
Marilyn, what happened to your necklace? Did the girls?
I didn't even, Ed, I was totally shocked.
Look, Marilyn.
To be honest, I thought
Maryland.
Maryland! Yay!
So Maryland is home through all this.
I love that dog.
Maryland
got to miss
Stevens,
the stress, but she definitely missed her pack when they got home.
Well, she just lost her collar. We gotta go put her back
Oh.
with collar on her phone.
Oh, man.
Hopefully they pulled it off.
She don't need no stinking tags. Don't need no paper. She's gardenia dog.
Well, all of the dogs are. So
Whoosh is saying, talk about NASA's 24 theologians. Do you know what that is?
I heard of it. The alien thing. Oh, thank you for bringing this up, man. See, I'm not familiar.
NASA talked with 24 theologians to try and get them to help them figure out a way to coax the public into understanding that there is life outside of our planet. There is actual aliens. They're real. You know, how can we do this without getting them too upset?
directly now. I mean,
I can trust that.
yeah, right. Like, hey, for all the dumb, superstitious people, tell them our science is correct, so that we have, and it's not even that our science is correct; it's that our prediction is correct, or our belief that there's alien life. So give us more money for SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence satellite program, or for NASA in general, right? That's what this is? It's a budget bolstering narrative.
I don't think NASA wants to go back to government funded programs. Why don't you? Okay. So
is NASA trying to spin off?
Yeah, no, by contracting SpaceX or what's the
Blue Origin,
or whatever, by
Bezos,
contracting them, they're you can't do a FOIA on a private corporation. So they don't have to expose any of so they contract SpaceX to go up and say, hey, go talk to the aliens. Totally going extreme here. Okay, bear with me.
I mean, it's probably more like weapons development.
NASA didn't do it. Yeah, it's probably more like weapons. But NASA didn't do it. So Freedom of Information Act, you can't ask for.
All you can see is the government contract. Right. They could keep everything else classified.
And Bezos
separate.
and Musk, they don't have to tell you jack shit. So
Maryland, no. But
they're at.
I think they're just going to tell us that the aliens are Catholic.
Yeah, careful, NASA. The Catholics are pretty good. They're going to come back and be like, no, actually, we sent a private program up. Aliens sent a coded message straight to the Vatican, and they said that they agree with us that Catholics are right.
There's that theory. Bush WTF says on Twitch that they are not just talking to the theologians; that they have actually been hired. So that's coming. She goes on, says they go on. My theory is they're going to blame aliens when the oil refineries are bombed. It wasn't us. It was the aliens, you guys.
The big other thing I'm seeing in the news with COVID is they're kind of accepting this predictable narrative that we said was going to happen before. Variants are going to be more contagious and less severe.
I heard the flu is making a comeback.
Yeah. So anyway, and one more thing. This is top of Drudge Report now. The one of the main headlines is, will she sing? That I should point. It's worth pointing out that Ghislaine Maxwell, because if she is facing 65 years,
she got nothing to do but spill her gut.
And she's a bit of an older woman, right? How old is Ghislaine Maxwell?
She's got in the 60s, yeah, like the early 60s, late 60s.
But if she's facing 60, but she's 8. Okay, according to Ghislaine Maxwell, 60 is found guilty of sex trafficking, so faces up to 65 years. So if you're 60 years old, it could go either way. Like if you can negotiate your 65 years down, if you can negotiate for a plea bargain that doesn't really give up anything, but you cooperate or release this about Jeffrey Epstein or whatever, give him some piece of satisfaction. Maybe you can negotiate that down to 10 and you serve 8, 7 for good behavior, right? And she goes, well, I still get the rest of my life free. I'll grant it from age 60 to 67.
But she'll get like Pizza Hut jail, not
right. She'll get cushy federal female facility.
Totally.
But if she's actually facing 65 years, and they hold that to her, and someone is in government is holding that leverage on her, she might squeal on everything, or this is where she dies in prison. This is where she dies in prison, right? Don't kill her.
Right.
This is where she gets suicided.
Her friends.
Time served.
Yeah.
How long has she been in now? Has she been in custody a couple years?
It's a while. I don't know how long, but it's been a while.
The Catholic Church. That's why NASA's trying to get these theologians. You look over here. There's nothing. Look, like that guy made me fit little boys, but we've gotten talking to aliens over here, so you should. That's it. Moose Girl says almost a year she's been incarcerated.
Almost a year. Well, and she's definitely learned how to get comfortable.
Yeah.
And I am not at all thinking she's going to be any less than a tough bitch. No, I mean, they're going to have to break her. Because her position, according to this article, Maxwell declined to give evidence at her trial, saying the government has not proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt, so there's no reason to testify. So she's maintained that right to remain silent. In this case, well,
only she did terrible.
Yeah, allegedly.
Oh,
we're pretty sure. But yeah, teens, orgies,
no,
certainly deception, exploitation.
We can say she did terrible things. She's been found guilty.
In a government trial, and she maintains her innocence. Now, I think in her case, and I'm not an expert, it's more that she danced around a gray area. And can we determine that she delved into, like, if a girl's 18, for example, and you exploit her in this way, it's still criminal, even if it's not trafficking a minor.
True.
Right? It could still be exploitive. And I think she lived in that gray area where there was a lot of crime and a lot of victims, and how they come at her. So is she? Would I say I'm saying yes. I would agree that I can say within a reasonable doubt, she's guilty of a lot of exploitation and abusive stuff. Right?
Apparently, it's fake like birds.
It's all fake. Well, like it could be. This could all be just some stage
fake,
thing.
Like the Rittenhouse screen trial. I haven't heard that one.
All right. But yeah, there's so much bigger stuff at stake with the Maxwell trial. It really could. It's getting hot. It could really be sort of all staged. It could be all about the political manipulation or setting up Bill Clinton, or there are a lot of just serious power players in this, tied up in the Ghislaine Maxwell case and outcome and everything else. So.
Yeah, say her name again. I still can't pronounce it.
Ghislaine. But a lot people say Ghislaine, or Ghislaine, or Ghislaine. But I'm positive the correct French pronunciation is Ghislaine. Yeah. I don't really care.
People chimes in.
Go ahead.
But she can't answer to anything, she being Ghislaine. Because he's dead. He, I'm assuming, being Epstein. So are the charges against him. She can still be let. There's some spelling mistakes in here, Pete. She can still be held accountable for her actions. The list everyone's waiting for will be released the same time that the data on the vaxes will. So we'll have another 55 years or so before we know. And that's a good point. Is if she does cave, if she does talk, if she does start releasing names and lists, what are they going to hide that with?
How about pull out a bunch of the video DVDs and let's have movie night?
Big political death. Harry Reid dead at 82. The Lion of the Senate. Good riddance, as far as I'm concerned.
The trolls are out tonight.
With what?
Apparently, Jake Lee, somebody shit on him. He said, "I got shit on, you bitch." He forgot a comma, but I got shit on, comma, you bitch.
That's what the trolling is?
Yeah, we're status traders.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You always notice that the trolls come out of Facebook?
That's the thing. We need to start mass emailing StreamYard to connect with the Odyssey platform, become more integrated with them.
Yeah, totally. That would be awesome.
Absolutely.
This is the last big tech thing we're
Odyssey
lacking.
is acting up tonight, by the way.
Oh, geez.
So there's that.
Well, maybe people are going to Facebook to watch.
I got a note from Twitch, but not one from Odyssey or YouTube.
Oh, Pete Equal knows Jake. Always claiming we're status.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's about it. I think we can wrap up for the week. Let's just go back and remind people of the legal situation. We want you to call Flood. Jimmy still got that number up. This is Alonzo Payne. You can call right now and leave a voicemail for them. You can call tomorrow between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, minus when they're off the phones for noon to 1 to lunch, and leave a message or talk to someone and say, respond to Kokesh's letter and withdraw the summons or tell us what the summons is for. You can email alonzopayne@gmail.com. And for now, at least put the focus there. Please subscribe on Telegram, t.me/Adam versus the man. And we'll have updates there if we want to shift fire away from the DA. But I think it's really all in the DA right now. I mean, I'm going to keep calling out the sheriff, but maybe the DA put out the protection order like this. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Sheriff, you can't talk to Mr. Kokesh now because he named you, and we turned it into a legally sensitive matter. And you know what, Dan?
Sorry,
if you cower to that, fuck you.
Like,
no, you're going to hide behind the skirts of some prick writing documents from government office where he's getting paid 3 times what you are for being a lawyer. Really, Dan, you're gonna submit to that bullshit? I'm disappointed. We'll see. Captain Meek never got back to me. Chief Meek of the Center Police Department. None of the county commissioners got back. So we'll see where this goes.
I told the audience. I know I told you, but Dan.
Yeah, Sheriff. No, it's Captain Ben Wilson of the jail. It's the jail captain.
Okay.
And there's
then that's the one that talked to me. You need to get on the phone with your man. We'll let you talk to him, but you've got to tell him to do the right thing.
And they don't know. I'm in a position now.
Trying to twist my arm over the phone.
I don't, except for Adam versus the man. I don't create projects that depend on me. Homefront Battle Buddies on my land goes on without me, with Ed and everybody else on the team. Everything else we got going business-wise here goes on with Joey without me. We have other partners involved who I'm not going to name all and go through, but we have people to take care of the dogs. Joey would take care of them. But what you're threatening me with is a good time. I'm gonna every threat you come at me, I will respond with, okay, so put me in solitary until you can resolve it legally, with or without me. Let's dance.
We didn't should attack on the show.
Well, I'll read it into the record, but the last Twitter post, this is also an Adam versus the man on Telegram. The last one before Joey's awesome last minute show promos. I got a text. I'm not going to say the number. I mean, I published it, but I don't really care. This is just a deputy being asked to serve this document. But even then, he's being a fucking tool, not telling me what it is. But he did. I don't know. Maybe he was supposed to tell me it was a Colorado civil summons. But the text from him was, "Sir, this is Deputy Hubble of the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office. I have civil documents to deliver to you. To be available in the next couple of hours to accept them. Thank you in advance." Turns out he was sitting down at the corner of Mull Road and Cattle Drive, afraid to come on my private road, even up to my gate. We found out from the neighbor, our neighbor Dan, because he went to his gate first to say, "Can I get help from you contacting Adam to see if he's at home?" And so Dan ran in here and you verify that I'm at home. You don't need Dan to do that. Broadcasting from Gardenia. But this is a serious summons delivery, but it's still just a civil summons. Joey, I think your idea, though, that they created a suit from maybe one of the county commissioners and say, "Oh, this is harassment."
Yeah.
Just so that they can draw this communication line and say, "Well, let's see." But I don't want to challenge that. I'll just come at them with, I'll just keep calling them until Monday. Close the business month. I gave them a deadline.
Did you guys not learn that in 12 days worth of dealing with my ass? I'm not going to participate.
I'm not going to bend.
All I'm doing is asking you to do the right thing. I'm not playing the bureaucratic game.
Yeah.
It costs money. It costs people that you are
quality of life.
Money.
Yeah. And it leads to stress and pain and suffering. Totally needless. So yeah, I'm going to stand up to this, and if it comes down to you. So anyway, where's the conversation. I said, "What kind of documents?" He said, "It looks like a summons out of Colorado." I said, "No, thanks. They can email it to me, then go pound sand. If it's a summons, how is that civil? Why do they have you running errands for them You want to take a picture with your phone and just send it to me here? He says, I would love to, but I'm required to deliver them to no BS. I can hand them to you and be gone. And it's like, but that's a service. It's like, you're going to verify I have to admit my identity. So I wrote, this is and he later said, thanks for talking to me at least. But I said, sounds like service, in quotes, as in legally service. So, ... no thanks. You can tell anyone in Colorado too cowardly to be upfront about the purpose of a summons by just emailing to me that they can go pound sand. If they ever come up with an excuse to extradite, let me know and I'll meet you at your office. So you don't have to come to my place. Until then, have a good day. And I'm serious about that. If they do turn this into an extraditable warrant, I'll probably just submit to it to avoid the confrontation, or be like, afraid of any time I get pulled over, they're going to pull me in. I don't want to live with that kind of planning over my head.
I don't believe if you don't answer the summons, I don't believe that's extraditable across a state line. The most they could do is suspend your privileges in that state, so that next time you're through that state, if you run into them, they have something on you.
And this is like they might judge in my absence that I owe them money for some but it's not going to be significant. They're not going to come after my land for it. They're not going to turn into
about it though. I've even conferred protective orders across state lines. I've been through this. If
it's a protective order,
they can serve you with.
So it's got to be something else.
With a threat.
But then it might be a lawsuit.
With threatening, not.
But they can with a financial lawsuit from government.
I know.
Christopher Cantwell.
Yeah, it can't well. So over state lines, they're going to get a protective order if they charge you. But that's a warrant. So that's not what this is.
But I'm not even responding. I don't have the opportunity to respond to the summons because I have not been served with a summons. And they have broadcast to me. They have tipped their hand, their intent to serve me. All I have to do is never identify to a stranger, hi, I'm Adam Kokesh. And I know it's some bullshit legal magic line, and maybe they can cross it. Maybe they have some other stupid spell of magic words. Well, we put it in your pants pocket, so you've been served, and we identified you with a picture, and you saying, so, all right, well, anytime from now on, when I'm outside of the gates of Gardenia, my name is Captain Freebeard. I'm not Adam Kokesh. I am his legal representative. Go fuck yourself. Okay, well, then you can't serve me. And if it's that weak sauce shit, fine. I'll ignore it, and I'll send my lawyers your way. You'll be hearing from me with lawsuits.
The laws of the state of Arizona are, if an officer of the law asks you for your identification, you must tell him your real full name. You are not required to present proof of identification unless you are suspected of committing a crime.
Well, then
you have to tell them your name.
That's a privacy violation. No, that might be a regulation thing, but you know what? I did time for this and beat it in New Orleans in 3 days because they knew their law wouldn't stand up to scrutiny either. So I can bring it Yavapai County Sheriff's Office. I don't think they want to be that big of dicks about it either.
I'm just putting it out there.
Well, round 2 is fully underway. With that, Ombudsman Ed, your final thoughts. That one's good.
My final thoughts are basically Adam has been in the right from start to finish, and I have no ombudsman statements to call him on any impropriety at this time. I agree with everything he's done and the way he's done it. And if I was his age, I could see myself doing the exact same thing. So I have to give you thumbs up, kudos, and all of that. You have your street cred. You got lots of activist points on this action here. And by the way, I heard you talk to God.
Yeah, well, I suppose I will take a couple minutes to explain that. I mean, I explained it briefly on last week's show, but it did really. I've sort of rationalized myself into the view that God is that unifying vibration through the matter of the universe that makes us one. Where that vibration stops and we are not, that is the end of existence, and that is the end of God. And God is that vibration of love that unites us, that is universal, and that there is not a personified God. It is somehow intellectually offensive to me to think that God can be separate as a personified male or female deity at all. Like even gendering God like makes me cringe. So I've thought this for a long time, but I had to go through this particular government-induced, taxpayer-funded spiritual retreat to sit in stillness and meditate enough and go through the moment of despair. I had to experience hopelessness on the second night I was there, of like, you know what? And to me, hopelessness is, I'll just go back to living an awesome life in Gardenia and make music and art and babies, and retire from activism and kind of back down from the confrontation with the state. But then, the epiphany came to me in meditation, and speaking to God is a poor anthropomorphic metaphor of what is really tuning into that vibration of the universe, experiencing the human consciousness as the universe, becoming aware of itself. We are all stardust. We are all products of the galaxy and the gases and the novas and supernovas and everything that led this particular matter to be here at this moment in time, that allowed you to become conscious, for the human consciousness to exist. It is the universe becoming aware of itself. And we, as that consciousness, have this incredible gift. And this is why, for me, self-care, optimizing your health and fitness. If you are a spiritual being having a physical experience, well, you better fucking make sure that your physical body vessel is supporting the maximum spiritual experience that you get. And it's not just your brain, it's your heart, it's your nervous system, it's the experience of your body and your interaction with the whole world around you. That is a gift, that is the human consciousness, that gives you the opportunity to live in that love vibration, to tune into that. And you can talk to it in the sense that you can really say, well, what is it of my highest values, of my principles, of my highest essence of human consciousness, of being a manifestation of that love vibration? What is it that I am called upon to do? And that is how God spoke to me. And God spoke to me to say, like Billy Millen, like my head is filled with music, the Real Mackenzie song, like, you hear that call to principle, and it doesn't fucking matter if you're walking past the edge of a cliff. You keep your eyes on the path walking forward, because that is the call to principle. It doesn't matter what the enemy threatens you with. You march to that song that's in your heart, and you say, you know what, that is my principle that I am going to follow above all else. And that gave me strength, and that was what I found in jail. And it's something that I'm incorporating into my life as part of my meditation practice and my spiritual awareness. And I'd like to develop that more. Like I said, I came up with my 7-point prayer, which I sort of did a version of before every workout, but now I do it as a prayer. It's a stretch, but it's a prayer. And you can do, a modified seated version of it without really stretching, but it's a symbolic gesture that appreciates that your food is not something to thank some external thing for. You worship the food and consume it, because that food is sacred. It is part of that. You are integrating that vibration and that love and that energy into your body by consuming it. So worship it and eat consciously. And I developed, I prayed before every meal in jail, and I've at least done my little, oh shit, I forgot to do my prayer before every meal since I've gotten out. And I do it in the morning, and I do it before working out, even as a physical warm-up. But it's a spiritual grounding to my workout. It's something that I've always enjoyed about working out. Not just, hey, this is juicing up my brain to be more in tune with God, but that this is a particular practice of appreciation for the human consciousness. And every time Joey knows this from going to the gym with me. I used to do this at the gym, and she would see me. It's the up, down, back, left, right. And I've showed Ed this as a stretch, but what I've done is ritualize the practice of it so that it can be done as a prayer and a stretch at the same time. And it's, a prayer is not, okay, I put my hands like this and I talk to God necessarily. I do that too. I mean, I take a meditative pose. Sometimes I put my hands together.
Acknowledgement, I think. Conscious acknowledgement of your intent. And it can be spoken, it can be thought, it can.
So there are two things, like, and I
still do that.
I think a lot about the power of Christianity in terms of helping people spiritually and what it has given them when Christianity is done right, not as literalism, not as authoritarianism, but maybe in the universalist tradition or the concept of Protestantism itself, when it's done not as you have to go through me, the authority, or even this book, the Bible, to get to God, but here's a useful mythology and a set of values.
Those are the
Christianity, they're right. Christianity is an incredible force for good and helping people live better, happier, more peaceful, effective lives. And I've always kind of wanted that. And in two ways, in a lot of ways in this experience, I really got that. And one is, in talking to God, I feel like now I have a practice in meditation that I can tell you is my version of listening to God. I can tell you that I have a practice of meditation that is tuning into that vibration, asking for things for it, and saying, as I am tuning into this vibration and calling to mind my highest principles, what am I asking for? What should I want? And is it that the universe talks back? But no, you can align your consciousness with the vibration of the universe to draw strength from it in the ways that serves your highest principles with that awareness. So that's me, asking. I can ask God. I can ask God for strength. I can ask God for focus. I can ask God for patience. I can pull these things out of the vibration of the universe through that model of God, that understanding of God, that communion with God. So
it's communion. And I'm going to stop you and ask you.
That's it.
No, it was.
That's Adam's religion, the love religion 101. And
I know some people that are watching right now participated, but on December 19th, and I had to look back, and I don't know if you knew, it was at noon was when the moon went 100% full, and that's why I picked that time. I sat in Hot Springs, and I asked everybody in the Producers Club and everybody in the Adam vs. the Man channel to please pray, meditate. I said, whatever your thing is,
have a moment of universal
meditation, universal peace. And think of the collective and peace. And I told them that you'd be joining us, and you did say that makes me happy. And because it was a weird phone call, it was like it just, God speaks to you, right? Like 11 or 10:30, it just, something in my head was like, do this. And then I called. I was like, look, you got to tell Adam we need him to meditate with us at noon. And it was this weird knee-jerk, something from outside of me saying, I hope it helped in the long run, because you said communion, and we're all interconnected. Science is even proving this now.
Well, even on a very
other people, it creates a bigger power.
Even on a very superficial, non-spiritual level, direct scientific fucking mindfulness. Think about this. Take a minute to stop thinking about other things and just calmly think about this. And see if it has some positive effect on you, because you're directing your mindfulness, your attention one way or another. It's taking charge of your own brain. That's freedom, right? What do you got?
Whoosh, WTF on Twitch. Consciousness is the universe communicating with itself, and meditation is the self communicating with the universe.
Yeah. So my Catholic priest friend who read part of the Freedom Book for a sermon in a Catholic church is going to be here tomorrow, Father Tim Ritchie. And we're going to see if this idea can be built out and shared in a more practical way. And I'm looking for his help and his wisdom and his guidance. And he's been the kind of Catholic priest a good pantheist like myself always wants as a friend and a mentor. He'll be here tomorrow morning. Yeah, before it gets snowy again, we are expecting more inclement weather. So if there are no comments we're missing, let's have our last smoke weed every day and producer comments and sign off.
Weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day.
Jim, any final notes?
Nope, that's it. I gotta be very, very quiet, and it's not because I'm hunting wabbit.
All right. Find us for everything at t.me/Adam versus the man. With that, well, peace and love, y'all. Choose happiness. Be excellent to each other.